Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, welcome to the Robb Crocker Show. My name is Alex Gonzalez. I'm here with, of course, JB Jared Burrows in the studio, as always. Good to see you.
Glad to be back. Thanks for asking.
I didn't. And, of course, we have the man himself, Robb Crocker of the Robb Crocker Show. Good to see you again.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back in the studio with you guys. Dance with the devil, walk with the angels, and always remember the truth will set you free. No ties and no lies. If it ain't black, it's going to be white. Tonight, I'm probably going to cross the line, and it may hurt someone's feelings or may hurt everybody's feelings. But at the end of the day, I don't give a damn because all I care about is America. I care about this country, and I'm not going to use any entity to describe anything we talk about tonight. You guys are more than welcome to talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. All I'm going to talk about is factual statements. And if you agree, you agree. If you disagree, you disagree. And it is what it is. So let's get it on.
Yes, sir. Before we get into that, this show is sponsored by Branch and Barrel, the best damn whiskey in all of Colorado and soon to be the rest of the world. Of course, Black Heart gear as well. Get your Black Heart gear. Jared is covered in it, dripping in Black Heart gear.
I'm glad we all have hats on today.
That is true. It's
Yeah,
awfully
my
bright.
friend.
It's awfully bright out here. But and yeah, of course, the Cigar guys and Base of Cigars as well. So we appreciate all our sponsors, everyone that makes this show possible. And now we're going to get into the nitty gritty.
Just remember when you wake up in the morning and you get out of your bed, you have two things you can do. You can walk to the bathroom, do your business, go back, make your bed, and you've already accomplished one thing for the day. When you go in your closet and you have to get dressed, if there's a plethora of clothes in there that are not black, you're already thinking for the day. That's why I wear black every day.
So you do like the whole Mark Zuckerberg thing. It's black shirt and jeans every day. That's all you got.
Less is more, man, until more is needed. If I have to decide between wearing a black shirt and a yellow shirt, I'm pretty fucking sure I'm going black.
It does kill me when I run out of black boxers. I have that one blue pair or gray pair. I'm like, son of a... How'd this get in here? But I don't have to think if it's the only one left.
But do you get your boxers dry cleaned?
You want to help me out? Or?
You're not at that point in life yet.
Boxers
Dry cleaned.
I don't know. It's 100% cotton. I don't need them cleaned. The more clean they are.
So you must have someone around that does your laundry for you.
Me.
Huh? Well, touche.
I could hire somebody.
Just send it off. Put it in a bag, put it at the door, they come pick it up, and off it goes.
You do that sometimes, don't you?
Well, I dry clean like my dress clothes. I don't dry clean my boxers. I have someone to do that for me.
Get those skid marks out of there.
Way to get it started. Let's go. Branch and Barrel. All right, guys, where I'm at today is I love America, and I really, really love this flag and what it represents about the freedom it allows me and all of us to do the things we want to do. At this point in society, where we are in a country, you have young men and young women. Let's just start out at 16 to 22 who everything is taken for granted across the board with technology, where it is and what it is and what they have. Where if they had to graduate high school and leave the United States of America, and I'm not saying go in the armed services, I'm not saying go into anything. I'm saying go into an environment to where you don't have air conditioning every day. You have to experience difficult situations that make you uncomfortable, to where after 2 years, when you leave after you graduated high school at 18, at the age of 20, when you were finished on your revival or your trip, whether it's hiking, wherever it is, but when you come back, I don't want you to be in the United States of America. I think it's so important that young people gather the value of what this country represents, because the day of people in World War II and World War I lying about their age to go fight for America. Right now, you have college campuses, you have pompous asses, you have people that don't understand how lucky they are to be a United States citizen. Until that changes, we're going to be in a world of hurt. Right now, the working age man from 18 to 22 has deteriorated by over 50% since the 1970s. We're talking about people who were mechanics, who went out and got construction jobs. Any type of physical labor, we do not have that in this country right now. So that's why I've been so adamant about whatever labor force it may have been, the Latin American or whatever. So how do we get that back in this country? Both you guys are a lot younger than me, unfortunately.
You just found that out today.
I found it a lot. Yeah. But anyway, I might not be as good as I once was, but I'm still as good as I was one time a day. We'll leave it at that. But what you both being younger, I want to ask you your opinion of how that changes, because that is the baseline of what drives the future of this country, of a working young person. Because if that working young person's not here to do physical labor, we have to have alternatives. And both of you both disagree with me in what I think. But so y'all both explain to me how young people, 16 to 22, learn to work, learn to have and add value to the country that we all three love.
Parents.
Fucking parents are done, JB. It's goddamn 18. It's too late.
I think what he means is before they turn.
Okay, 3, 4, 5,
Well, he said
6.
I think
he
that
said 18. So
No, you gotta be. By 18, you are set in your ways. You're already in your room playing your Xbox or playing whatever game.
I think part of it is a cultural issue and how they're raising the kids. Parents are either not present in the home, or they don't think they don't realize the value it is.
or the parents don't work either.
Or that.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I'll use an example. We just had a group of South Africans come to this country seeking asylum, and they're all waving American flags, and they're all saying, we're grateful to be here, we're very privileged to be here. We haven't seen a lot of that with a lot of the people that have come.
It's nice to see that,
Right.
actually. Even people who live here, yeah.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, it's a big cultural issue in this country and in some other countries, and I think that a lot of younger people that are growing up today, they aren't getting taught values at home, like hard work, dedication, or even just what's right or wrong. So back to what Jared is saying,
This is the perfect segue to this whole night show.
there's a lack of morality being taught to our young kids that are growing up to be eventually 16 through 21, whatever age.
And I only see it getting worse as technology becomes more relevant in society. When a child is 3 or 4, you have parents who grew up with technology. So what are they going to do? They're going to hand off to their child an iPad, Samsung pad,
Well, 'cause
whatever.
that's the easy way out. It's like, hey, stop crying. Take
Absolutely.
the iPad.
So where do you see the dynamic changing? Where I grew up in an era where I still were with older people who worked. So if I happened to be around them, they expected me to work and they taught me to work. So those generations have lessened. So should we be in a situation as the United States of America who say, because there's so many kids who graduate high school who don't have jobs, they don't have a future. because
Same with college too.
it doesn't matter.
Well, they haven't gotten their gender studies degree yet, so give them a little more time.
So, should we create an environment in the United States of America that says we want to, because these kids graduating high school, they don't appreciate what this country stands for. They don't appreciate where and who sacrificed everything to give them the ability that they have today. So, should there be an opportunity for an 18-year-old to 20, when you graduate high school, just the Mormons have it. When you go on the revival, you go do your deal. When you graduate, you go do you find yourself. So should the United States of America have the ability to say, you know what, we have to find a way to get young people to love this country again, to want to work for this country, to want to be a prosperous part of the entity that we believe in, that we all love, because without that, it's only going to get worse from generation to generation. It's not going to get better, because when you have people handing in these iPads and these things now, they're not going to know how to work. So as these kids grow up, what do you think they're going to do? We don't have to work. There's somebody who's going to do it for us, whether it's a robot, whether it's whatever technology that's out there. But every time this happens, you're losing the young people who we need to love this country, who want to go fight for what this country believes in. I remember there's a picture that I have a bowl cut hair, but 1976, there's a picture of me in front of a United States flag celebrating the centennial. No one even interjects with the flag. Kids are not taught to love this country right now. So how can you expect them to act when things go bad? When JB, Gonzo, tell me a time in your life when you saw the United States of America the most united as one country.
Well, there's only two times I could think about during so I'm 33, I would say 9/11. Before that would be like Desert Storm 92, late 80s, early 90s. You know, going from George H.W. to Clinton.
Yeah, I was a little too young to remember 9/11, but two, I do think that, and this is a little less significant than 9/11, but when we actually got Bin Laden, I remember that people were actually celebrating about that.
Like a subsequent.
Yeah. So it was like kind of like part of it, but that's one time. I think outside of 9/11, really, there hasn't been anything that drastic in terms of
To bring everybody together.
Yeah.
Not just one side. Everybody.
Yeah.
At this point, where we stand today in society, the news media has the ability to manipulate people's thoughts. We've talked about it before with social media and things like that. What would happen today if 9/11 reoccurred? Would everyone, this was this, and this, because more people enlisted in the military services after 9/11 than ever before.
Yeah.
Because it lit fire in young people. And at this point, what is it? The shoot 'em up game everybody plays. Call of Duty. So you're at a point now, it's easy to play Call of Duty behind the screen. But when you actually have to go out and do the physical work that it requires you to be good at doing something like Call of Duty, is anyone out there ready to go do that? At this time in our country, should we mandate that this happens? Because we're going to lose the foundation of this country. we're going to lose the young people who have the opportunity to learn, to be strong, and to be a leader in this country.
I think that in terms of like our military and people that are enlisting and that demographic that you're describing, I think it does still exist quite heavily in America. I think the problem is it's not promoted and it's not showcased as much as maybe it used to be.
Do you know where it lives in America, Gonzo?
Mostly rural areas.
It lives in farm towns.
Yeah.
It lives in...
But those are the boring towns. No one cares about those places.
I care.
Well, yes. Well, that's my point is we don't showcase that as much as it used to. I mean, obviously during wars, you know, people say, well, it's war propaganda. They're pushing it out there. Everyone's patriotic. Everyone's got to do their part. Even if you're not there, you're doing your part here. And we really haven't been heavily involved in a war since maybe, you know, Vietnam. Everything else has been proxy wars, or it's been, you know, overseas in Iraq, and it hasn't really hit us home since, obviously, World War I, World War II. Vietnam was definitely an emotional one. But it hasn't been promoted as much as it has been in the past.
I can remember I fly through Atlanta a lot, and I remember seeing young men on their first deployment going somewhere, or I remember young men landing in Atlanta going to basic training. This is all in that time frame that I'm talking about. At this point, I don't see that. I understand that the numbers are up in all of the services, but I'm not just talking about the military. I'm talking about the working base of, you look around and see who's working at places. It's not young people anymore. They're at an age to where they don't have to work. They're entitled. They expect something for free. And until we, as me, the two of you, and their parents, decide, which they're never going to decide, it's going to have to be something tragic that takes place for that to happen, because everyone is entitled right now. Everyone expects something for nothing.
Well, I think you always have that cycle of hard times create good men create
easy
times create soft men. It kind of goes in that circle. So I do agree with what you're saying in terms of, you know, people having to work for their lifestyle, let's say. Right now, it's everyone's kind of coasting. There's not a need for hard labor. But if the economy ever tanks, everyone's going to be like, wait a minute, why can't we live off of the $1,000 check I get every month from the government? Or if the checks stop coming, what do we do?
From where, though? Are you talking about Social Security or welfare?
Just in general. I mean, welfare. Welfare is one.
Social Security and welfare, they don't help 14, 15-year-old kids. This is where this is where I started tonight, guys. You know what's going to happen? The United States government is going to say, you know what? We have a major fucking problem here. We cannot afford to deport all of these hard-working immigrants who came here illegal. We're going to figure out a way to get them in this system to help fight for the United States of America. We won't be on a fast track to deport all these people. We're going to be on a fast track to figure out a way or a system to say, all right, guys, you're a young man, you can stay here. You have to join the United States military in one capacity or the other. And after you do your time, we will see that you become a United States citizen. That's where we're going to be in this country. Because we are not going to have people who want to join the military. You have a lot of special young men who want to join the Naval Academy, be a cadet in the Army, in all of these other places. But those are special guys. They want to be an officer. They want to be here. But when you say, I want to be a grunt making $245 a week, those people aren't out there. They're not there. You can't get the derelicts that have gotten in trouble who are doing this to say, you know what, that's what I'm going to go do. Because number one, they can't even qualify for the service now because they've probably already gotten in trouble. They're overweight. They've been behind the screen playing Call of Duty. That's the name, right?
They're basically veterans.
Actually, I never thought about that. So a convicted felon can't join the military?
No.
That's a huge gap.
But
there.
are they going to allow non-citizens to join?
Yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. You let non-citizens join under the premise you enroll, you serve, you do your service, you come out, you become a United States citizen because you fought for the United States of America. And guess what? The United States of America, it'll probably be 80% Latin Americans, will be stronger than any other country in the world, more so than we are today.
I think as long as you don't mandate it and you make it an option. So like kind of you said, you can do this in order to gain your citizenship, but if you force...
Like earn it.
Right. But if you're kind of like forcing them to do it, then where are their loyalties lying?
I agree, Gonzo. You can't force anybody to do anything because the minute you force somebody to do that, you create resentment.
Right.
They're like, nah, this is bullshit. Okay.
You need people that are behind the cause.
JB, here's the situation. You were caught in this country illegally. JB, you have a wife here. You have a couple kids here. The options are this. We can deport you back to your home country. Or do you want to stay in the United States of America? Do you want to be a prosperous citizen of the United States of America? If so, your options are you can join the United States military, serve in this capacity for 4 years. After you're done with your obligation, you will become a United States citizen. What's wrong with that scenario?
I guess if they're out of shape and too old to join, I don't know.
We're talking young men. We're not talking 62-year-old grandpas. 62-year-old grandpas aren't getting picked up off the side of the street. They are 16 to 26-year-old men who came here to make a better life for themselves. That's who I'm speaking about tonight.
Back to the military-age men thing. They're all military-age men. Let's put them in the military then.
We got anybody talking yet?
Yes. Zay is hiring. If anyone is still hardworking and wants a job, apparently she's hiring.
All right. Well, maybe you should get a shot at Blending Barrel and go see Zayza.
Branch and Barrel.
Branch and Barrel. So where we are with this conversation is I'm trying to stay between 11 and 1. We have people that we understand that won't work. And we have to find a way for other people to work in their place. Technology with robots, you may be able to answer this. I read an article yesterday, JB, that all of the new Teslas that are being sold now have the ability to be converted to the driverless taxi model.
Yeah.
How is that going to work out? I rode in a Tesla once, and I got to an intersection, and it brake pumped like 12 times because it was a 4-way stop. And I rode in an Uber this past weekend, and he was bad enough. I don't want to get in a driverless taxi. So how do you foresee Tesla's model where you own a Tesla that where you physically own it,
yeah,
and you can put it out on the street as a driverless taxi making money? But it's going to be under your insurance in whatever capacity that you have to do with ownership. Or are you going to just say, you know what? Send her out. Let's go.
I mean, I personally wouldn't. They're mine.
But personally, would you go get in one?
If it's the newer one that supposed to come out next month, yeah.
But they're saying right now that you can. What is it we do with our phones all the time when you plug them in?
Yeah, there's a software update.
Yeah, software update. You can update your car that you already have. You're not just going to update that car and say, send her out, let's roll.
I mean, I don't want people in my car.
Well,
If you had
a
a
fleet?
taxi company or you were a driving company and you had a fleet, would you feel comfortable sending them out under, your business or whatever?
Well, that changed everything. Then yes, yeah, I would. The newer ones that's supposed to come out next month, they're like 20, 30K, then yeah. They have no... If it's the newer stuff, then yeah. I wouldn't let people touch my current cars.
all right, so JB is what JB always is. Less is more. I don't want anybody fucking with my shit. I'm good.
But you're right about the insurance thing. You need, like, business insurance. Umbrella insurance for the cars. That way if someone got hurt, but...
The general liability, all of that will be off
Everything.
the charts.
Yeah.
So as we go, I've wanted to take steps for the show tonight. We started out here, we've gone to here, we've gone to here. Now, do we think that it's okay for anyone to go to a restaurant tonight that's closed and force themselves in the restaurant and say, I want you to cook me food tonight?
You mean like walk in at like 9:59?
Yeah.
That's tough because those reviews go pretty deep. I don't do reviews.
I think that's really just up to the restaurant at the end of the day. Like, me personally, if they close in 5 minutes, I'm not going. I'm not going to be that guy.
Now, there are times where if you go in there and offer to buy bottles like wine or something like that, and you're really going to overdo it, you're going to tip them well,
Yeah.
they might be more open to it. But that's a rare person.
But if I did go in and I was like, hey, would you seat me? And there's 5 minutes before they close and they say no, I'm not going to get upset. I'll be like, totally understand, have a good day.
Yeah.
But that's me. I think it's wrong to complain if they don't seat you and they close in 5 minutes. I'm not.
Do you know a restaurant that accommodates you in those situations?
There's a few, yeah.
It's called the Vineyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You walk in there, and the Jones family, Robbie, the staff, the chefs, they might have already cleaned the grills. Everything may already be done, but they're going to do anything and everything to accommodate your experience, because that might be the only time that you ever have the opportunity to go to the Vineyard. And when you go in there, they're going to want to make sure when you leave there that you were completely satisfied.
Well, and because they do that, they get more business out of it. They get good reviews. They get people coming back.
now word of mouth.
So
good
yeah.
reviews.
So if a restaurant didn't do that, then they would have to be okay with maybe losing a few customers because you turned them away. But if you're open to doing what the Vineyard does and letting people come right at last minute and stay for another hour,
Yeah, but Vineyard's just a special place we have here in Lake Mary. It's very rare. Not every city has a vineyard.
Yeah.
That's why anybody that happens to listen from wherever they may listen, when you ever have the opportunity to be here, you need to go experience it, because it's just not a menu. It's just not food. It's a wonderful evening or a great lunch to where you have quality people caring about how you feel, making sure you're happy with what you got. You get so many maitre d's walking around. How was everything? How was everything? Well, the people walking around there, if they ask you, they genuinely care that you are happy with your experience.
yeah.
So, who we got sponsoring us tonight?
Branch and Barrel.
Best damn whiskey in all Colorado.
Describe it to me.
The flagship bourbon specifically is the perfect amount of sweetness. A little bit of vanilla, a little caramel. Super smooth too. The wheated bourbon has got it's less sweet, a little more spice to it, but they're both very smooth. I enjoy them both very much. I'm just trying not to go through it too fast.
Well, we have a guy that'll send us more when we need it.
All right, in that case, I'm going to jump in today. But no, seriously, Branch and Barrel is really good, and I can't wait to be able to get them into the state of Florida. All my favorite bars, they're all going to have them. It's going to be a great day when that happens.
And I'm looking forward to the day that we get vodka.
Yes. And then we can, all three of us, go out together and enjoy all the drinks we want.
For sure. All right, we're going to go across the border.
Which one?
Let's go to Qatar.
Okay.
If I
Across the
said
ocean.
JB, I'm going to give you a brand new Lamborghini.
Yes.
Just, here's your new car. What are you going to do with that car?
Honestly, I'd probably sell it right away.
That's great. I want honesty.
But if it's from another country that they're trying to, shake hands with, be nice, I'd accept it as a gift. Kind of like a peace offering, like something nice.
So
it's
you
cordial.
would be upset if Gonzo was like, you know what, JB, you can't sell that car, man. We got to talk about that. That car should be mine. You know what? You can't even do that. I'm going to report you to the IRS.
I'm such a bad friend.
How do we have bad friends in the United States of America to where we've gotten to a point to where so many people do not want to see the United States of America succeed? Why would anyone have any reservations about anybody accepting a $400 million plane?
So if we take it that simple example, let's say you give JB a Lamborghini because he does such a great job, and I tell him you're gonna sell that car, like, well, you're not gonna report it, you gotta pay the gift tax. I'm clearly jealous of JB.
Yeah.
I have issues with JB. I'm like, why didn't I get the Lamborghini? Why all these good things happen to JB?
I'm shocked it wasn't a Corvette, ZR.
But my point is, these people will use any excuse to bash the president and be angry with him. And
It's not about the fucking president. It's about the goddamn United States of America. Why cannot these idiots, anybody, hey, you know what? Kumbaya. Look at what we got.
because their motives are derived from hating the president. Because at the end of the day, listen, quote unquote, he's the one, quote unquote, receiving the gift. We know that's not true. It's technically a gift that is going to be given to the Department of Defense. It's not Trump's plane, technically. But the fact is, they'll use any reason they can to make the president look bad. They've done it for the last 8+ years.
Personally, I think it's kind of old school that you'd give a gift from one country to another, one entity to another. I think it's kind of nice.
And what the people who are complaining about this need to do is go back in history and research that Roosevelt gave away United States planes. He gave away gifts to countries. I'm doing all I can to specifically not name parties tonight. I want to name common sense. Why would the United States of America not want to be a better place for everyone? This isn't about one party. This is about the country. This is about all of us, our children, in figuring out a way for the United States of America to be the leader in the free world. So when you have political figures from either party complaining about something, ask yourself why they're complaining. So we understand that a free plane should be accepted by the United States of America. Do we all agree on that? There shouldn't be any reservation about that. I heard what you said earlier about let's check it out, let's make sure we're not getting bamboozled.
I think it's situational. And so Scott asks now, how beholden are we to Qatar? And that's another question that people bring up. Is there some sort, is it kind of like a bribe, so to say?
It's like You went out on a date with a hooker, Scooter. Are you into her? Did you have a baby with her? You got to pay her money every month? No, you don't.
Just giving you a jet.
You got a piece of ass. You got a piece of ass, Scooter. Just take it as that. You're not emboldened to her. So, it's no different than us doing what we have done for Ukraine. What do we expect from Ukraine? We help them in a situation of need. They didn't give us any money. We did a good deed because that's the United States of America.
What happened to that? Did he not? Are we not going to get that money back?
No, we signed the deal for a enrichment for mineral deal. That's signed. But no one talked about it. So you continue to go along with the narrative about how we, as the United States of America, are users and abusers. Look at what we do and how we do it. It takes one person, not a political party. It takes one person to represent a deal, whether it's for the country, whether it's for your business. It's how you go in there and present yourself to what can we do to make this deal better. And we fortunately have a guy that has enough common sense to say, you know what? I really don't care. I want to make America better. That's all I want. I want America to be better. And the things that this individual's doing is doing that. Then you have other individuals who are fighting so hard, from judges to congressmen to senators, fighting against America. They're not, I look at it, they're not fighting against the president. They're fighting against all of us who love America. The road they're on is a dead end. And they are so naive and dumb, they can't even realize it.
Who's they?
The party that you choose to say.
You could say it.
I'm not going to say. I told you tonight.
I mean, there's all back to what I was saying earlier. There's always going to be something for them to complain about. So now with the jet, they said, well, it's not a free gift because taxpayer money is going to pay for the whole, rebuilding of the ship to make it.
You know what? I had enough. You ready to burn the house down? You ready to burn the house down, JB? I'm going to say names. It's bullshit. If the three of us go out tonight, we're going to go into somewhere that don't want us in. We're like, you know what? Fuck you. We're going in there. What's going to happen to us?
Trespass,
And we're getting arrested. And you're going to blame me. Crocker said. That's what you both are going to do.
as long as you get bailed out at the exact same time.
Exactly. That's the whole motive of the clip. You got to have the cameraman there to take the picture of. But the best part about it is when you have mandated body cam footage of police officers recording people doing what they're supposed to not be doing, then you have people defending what people who are not supposed to be doing. It shows you the hypocrisy of society. This is why the group of individuals who are doing this will be banished on a beach without a ride, because no one is going to want to hook up to that wagon. You cannot say that it's okay. Hey, no, you can't. I'm a sitting congressman. I can't touch you. No, hands off, man. Oh, no. But then you record me doing this, and then you say, hey, I didn't do that. Oh, there's a recording.
Go back 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. This is the bullshit that we're being fed by the media. It's time for everyone to wipe the whiteboard off and say, you know what? Enough is enough. We were sold a bag of goods about the former president who couldn't walk around, who needed a wheelchair. Books are coming out, and everyone is jumping off the ship. Well, guess what? If you gave a damn about the captain of the ship, you would have already acknowledged this and say, you know what? We have a badass president here. He's got some things that he's going through. We might put him in a wheelchair. The truth will set you free. If they would have played that card, they might have had a chance to win.
That is
but
true.
instead, they were like, denial, denial, denial.
Well, that's the problem. I saw a clip of Elizabeth Warren doing an interview, and she was questioned about how she defended Biden and basically said, like, his mental aptitude is sharp. He was the sharpest he's ever been, da-da-da. And then the interviewer was like, so you're telling me that he was just as mentally stable as you were? And she started laughing, like, kind of like, okay, you got me there moment. And everyone was like, this is the most authentic I have seen Elizabeth Warren. Because she didn't want to really admit it, but she was almost forced to be like, you know what? Yeah, that's a load of shit. And people were saying, listen, kind of like we were saying, if they were authentic and they just told it how it was, they would be in a much better position than they are now. Because we're tired of being lied to.
I would say with the Democratic Party, it's like
What party?
the left.
The other party.
Absolutely, Democratic Party. I would say they lie about everything, and they cheat and steal, but at least they back each other up. I mean, that's one thing they do. It's so stupid because it looks so dumb. But they will defend each other to the death of themselves, essentially.
All right. Well, I told you guys I wasn't going to use any names tonight. Well, at this point, I'm going to use a name because I think this young lady may be on the verge of being on a political ticket for the presidency of the United States. But anyone and everyone who cannot see how cunning and naive she happens to be, for someone to say, well, people in my party got arrested, people in my party broke the law, but if you come after them, you're going to have problems. Well, common sense says I'm in a position that I was elected, voted for, that I'm here to represent certain individuals. I should not be out disturbing the peace. I should not be out doing things that are illegal. But if I happen to do those things, now you're going to tell me that I've got someone on the backside that's going to come and fight for me. It's the damnedest thing. This is why you want to burn the house down? Well, here's what you got to do. You have to burn the Democratic Party down because it's a fucking joke. It's just plain and simple. You don't have to be a Republican, but you don't have to be ignorant either. This is pure ignorance. There's nothing about. Ask every one of them. Do you love America? Do you want to see America succeed? Look at what this guy is doing. Do you object to making more money? Look at what's happening with this, and this. It's absolute bullshit. And these people need to be held accountable. Someone needs to go in their districts and say, listen, lady, you are wrong. From where you serve drinks at the bar to where you are today, you're nothing more than a high-class hooker. Plain and simple.
She was a great bartender.
She was a high-class hooker.
I will not take the slander. She was a great bartender.
Okay.
We actually don't even know that, do we?
No, we don't. We just know she made good
Made up
money because it was
stories,
New
you know.
York.
Well, you know what? I can tell you this. She was a great salesperson because she sold a bunch of people. And if politics has
Easy
come,
audience.
if politics has come to being a great salesperson, Maybe I'll do something new.
Depends on your audience. You know, she had a captivated audience.
Did she? Or was she installed there? Just like the new Canadian PM.
Well, regardless, the audience was there for it.
Yeah, but they're installed. No one really chose anyways.
Well, okay, find me a spot in Florida that needs somebody like me to run to get in that position. Find that spot in this wonderful state that we all live in. Okay, I'll go run. I'll go to Congress. I'll tell her how fucking stupid she is. Because we'd be on level fields. Actually, she would be my senior because she'd be a couple. But I would
You'd
be...
like that, wouldn't you?
No, I would not. But I would be all about the... You've only got so many years you can serve.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the whole problem of where we are today. Because without term limits, you get Chuck Schumer up there saying that well, it's not you, it's the United States of America, man. Mm-hmm. You represent a district. Fight for those people. Quit worrying about you. You've been there long enough. You've got a pocket full of money. You've already gotten everything you're probably going to get. Just why are these people not fighting for America?
But they're not there to do that. They're there for their own benefit.
No
which
shit.
Is the problem.
Term limits.
Yeah.
You get 8 fucking years. You get 12 years as a senator. You get 8 years as a president. Call it fucking good. Right or wrong? Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
No shit, because we're always right, JB.
Would you be really actually willing to move and change your district just to run?
If it made America better for you and Gonzo and me, sure.
I do think that
that's what people do all day long.
Part of the problem is the system is designed.
Would you be mad at me if I did that?
No, why would I be mad?
The system is designed
because you might have to move.
The system's designed to prevent people that genuinely want to help America from running, which is why you have someone like Donald Trump running and getting so much backlash, and just everything he does is wrong and all this and that. People see that. Good people see that and they go, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to deal with this. There's a few that would. You have like Marjorie Greene, for example. Very controversial, whatever. But at least she's willing to say what she believes and do whatever she has to do to get the job done. Instead of, like we were talking about earlier, people that are basically getting paid to lie to the American people.
The whole media, as these books come out about the former president, it's reiterating to how many news media organizations actually lied to protect him. How can you have the woman up there speaking for you? He runs circles around me. There should be legal consequences for her. You actually said this when you have people coming out in books right now completely disagreeing with you, but you said he does this, this, and this. You were in a position speaking to the United States American people, completely misleading us. What would have happened if we were in an active war? What would have happened if we were in we already had a situation like this. We had fucking COVID. This is why no one believes in the government. This is why no one trusts what they say anymore. This is the perfect example. You sat there and told us this fucking man was fit to be the president of the United States. He was running circles around me every day. Well, kumbaya. You had people on the backside worried about, man, if he wins, We got to get him in a wheelchair. Come on. I've used the word a lot tonight, hypocrisy, but at the bottom line, you have to be able to trust the people who are speaking to you. I trust what Donald Trump says. You know why I trust it? Because he only says it 189 times over and over and over and over and over and over. He firmly believes in what he's doing, in what he's saying. If there were any shell game out there, he would step on his toe and everyone would know it. He actually believes in what he's doing. He wants to make America a better place. Do I agree with all the things he's doing? Absolutely not. The hour we have tonight is not long enough to get into what I want to do. But I can tell you this, and this is going to be the one that we end the show with. And you guys are probably going to be like, damn it, Crocker. But I do not think that it's in the United States of America's best interest to fly white farmers from South America over to the United States of America to give them amnesty because there's black people killing them. When 96% of all of the farmland that's owned in South Africa is owned by white people and only 4% owned by black people. It's just disheartening to me that you have the people who are already here, that you are doing everything in your power, who are illegal, hard-working citizens that get up every morning to go to work. Then you're going to bring new people over here who happen to be white. Where is the justification? Because you haven't seen it on the news. You haven't seen it anywhere. But it's happening. And I don't want to see a double standard in our country. You fuckers are awful quiet on that.
No, I think that, you say we need all the help we can get in some of these areas, agriculturally speaking. But then you say you don't want these people coming.
But why are we bringing them here? No,
Maybe they have a more legitimate claim to be here. I don't know.
I mean, we bring everybody here, so what's the difference?
Oh, you bastards. All right, here's what we're going to do. Let's get on a field trip. We'll all go to South Africa. We'll go to one of these farms and see if white people are actually getting brutally murdered, and maybe one of the three of us will make it back.
I was going to say, the problem is we are white, so...
Yeah.
Risk reward.
We might find out first. Is the reward worth it? Maybe we can send a drone out there instead.
So, I just think that it goes back to when the Haitians... It was the big story how illegal Haitians were here. They were up somewhere in the Midwest eating cats. The news media drives the dynamic of what people think and how they feel. Because what you think is what creates how you feel.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so passionate about the people I see working in society. I don't see young white men, young white girls, young black men, young black girls, or even young Hispanics at this point, because the young Hispanics who are legal here now, they've already fallen into the system of handing the iPad, handing this, to where the hard work in this country is gone. It's going to be ultimately ending up being done by a robotic figure in my lifetime, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I do think it's a very, very complicated issue overall, because you have the issue of cost of living being so high. and a lot of these jobs aren't paying people enough to live. So you have people that are trying to get higher paying jobs and they don't want to work menial jobs, mainly because they wouldn't be able to afford to live regardless. But then you have all these jobs that are denying
I'm sorry to interrupt
applications.
you.
Go ahead.
We may have to go over a little bit tonight. But Disney,
Okay.
Universal, the people who are working there, they're working there for a rate. I just watched a family of 4 go to Disney and spend over $2,000 for 4 days. All right. I understand operating costs for Disney, but I'm sure they were staying in one of the hotels there.
Yeah.
But you can do the math on the people. These companies where these people are going, and we happen to live in a great state. I love Florida. I think Disney, I think Universal, I think all these things add tremendous value to this state. But without undocumented people working there who actually work under a service where that service is legally squared away with those entities, the state would not be successful because there's nobody who's going to go clean these rooms. And people can move the shelves, move up, do whatever they want to do. But the housekeepers who are working at Disney, the groundskeepers who are working at Disney, everybody who's working in those resorts, they're not all legal. I'll bet you $1 million right now.
No, yeah.
So, to do what we're continually doing, we have to find a better avenue to make America great again without hurting people who are here who want to see America successful. There has to be a way to contribute. There has to be a way to uphold the law, and there has to be a way without 17 million people got to get out of this country. Plus, we're going to bring in 70,000 South Africans. So, as great as I think things are going, I think there's an opportunity if people would sit down and say, you know what? Let's draw a circle. Let's put some pieces to a pie together. Let's figure out how we can acclimate what we have. Let's figure out how we get rid of what has to go. Let's figure out what we got to bring in. And let's truly do what we all want. Let's make America great again.
Well, at the end of the day, we want the people that are here that want to work towards a greater America to do exactly that. And whether you're a citizen or not, if you have ill will towards this country, you shouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
Go find another country.
Absolutely. How did we allow, and we're going to go, we spoke earlier about 9/11. How do we allow people to come here, to go over to Daytona Beach, to go to pilot school, to learn how to fly planes?
Yeah.
It's the same scenario.
Well, it was part of the plan.
So we already know that we have a substantial amount of illegal people here. How many of those people hate America, want to do whatever? But if the 3 of us are out in Costa Rica tomorrow and we get pulled over, they're going to ask. It's going to be very, very difficult.
It's going to take us a while to get out of that situation.
Absolutely. So,
And imagine if we were driving around with a Costa Rican flag with an X through it.
absolutely. So, all I am asking and all I'm suggesting to all these wonderful elected officials who run this country is take a second and figure out how we can truly help this country. Plus, help the people who are here. Because it doesn't behoove America to get rid of all the hardworking people. I witnessed today an area down south to where there would not be anybody working on that project if it was not for Latin Americans. I did not go ask them, hey, are you a legal citizen? You a legal citizen? I just know looking at this high rise, there would not be anybody working there if it were not for them. So someone has to take a moment and put common sense in this equation. It's illegal. It's, you know what? You broke the law, you're here illegally. That's easy. You took the easy way out. So, I've said it before, set up a station, Raymond James Stadium down in Miami. Say, you know what? If you're here illegal, come here, register. We're going to run a background check on you. If it comes back clean, you have the opportunity to stay here for us to monitor you to where you can become a working individual to behoove the United States of America. That's just how I feel. JB, what do you want to get off your shift tonight?
I mean, we talked about it a lot, but I think that he should pull all government funding from a lot of these colleges, but more or less all the mainstream media, and they have to report actually on the news. And I think he should walk the mainstream media off the plank. But we should have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah. I don't got anything. I wasn't prepared for this.
We do it every Tuesday night.
So about the comments, you guys are sending in a lot of comments here. It is a little difficult to always work them into the conversation as we're talking actively. And sometimes, I will admit, it's hard to keep track and have them make sense when we move to a new topic. I'm gonna be honest with you. All the comments sometimes don't make complete sense. But trust me when I say this, I know that everyone else watching is reading the comments with us here, and they're following along a little better than we are because of the time delay. But we do appreciate you for contributing to the conversation. I'll go through a few of them here real quick. If you want to get something off your ship real quick before I do that.
Go ahead and do that, because
Yeah.
I got a minute to think.
See, exactly. You weren't ready either.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to get a lot off my ship tonight.
All right. Well, I'm going to highlight some of the great comments here, starting with that piece of bacon. Again, don't know what you're referring to exactly, but I'm sure that it was very relevant. Maybe Trump can bring us on the new plane. I'm assuming you're talking about
Qatar plane.
Yeah, the Qatar plane. Yeah. We do love America. Yeah, and just like Crocker said, there are people here that did come illegally that do love this country, and there are people that came here that don't love this country, whether they're citizens or not. There's a lot of people that live here that don't love this country. That's very true. And if we're ever in Costa Rica and we get pulled over, Scott says just to bribe them because that's common practice. So we'll make sure we got a wad of cash on us. And yeah, that's a few of the highlights right there.
All right. Well, tonight the ship is big in my heart. I like what JB said, but I want to expand on it. With technology where it is now, I think that we should have the ability for all news media, if they say something that is untrue, it's like the game. It pops up and goes, eh.
We have the capability of doing that. The problem is the will.
And who controls it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Guess who controls all? The people who do not want to see America successful. And I don't understand why. It's the same people who fight against the common man in the local community that has been ridden and run by one party for over 50 years. And that whole community is still desolate, struggling to survive. You go in those communities, there's brand new cars at one spot, and it's always the funeral home. Let's get rid of the garbage, and let's make America a place that we can always be proud of to call home.
Absolutely.
Let's burn it down.
Great conversation. Thank you all for tuning in to the Robb Crocker Show. If you're not already, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get the update with all the future content that we're releasing. And until next week, See you next time. Take care.
Here's your